I've met Steven because I'm on my journey to write a book about the brands and how to build a brand.
I'd spent at that point 27, 28 years attempting to build a great business.
You're losing everything overnight. How did you survive that mentally?
I could being a cleaner in a factory. Actually, it taught me so many beautiful life lessons.
Do you truly also believe that you can change the world for the better through what you're doing?
Everybody had a story to tell and everybody had been through something.
Working with you guys, it's a life-changing experience. Hi guys, welcome to my new episode, Brands Through Stories. You've probably heard many times that I've said I truly believe that through businesses, we can change this world and make it better. And this is really one of the reasons why I've created this podcast, because I've met so many incredible people behind successful brands. And in my world, success does not mean how much money you make, but actually what impact you make in this world. And today, I have an incredible guest who is building a new type of media company. The media company that is based on humanity, kindness, love, and genuine connection. And these are not just the words for the beautiful purpose statements, but these are really the words that are backbone for his company. So welcome, please, my guest, Steven Foster, who is the owner of the one and founder of the One Golden Nugget.
Thank you. I'm going to use all of that. That was amazing.
It's true. Steven, thank you so much for finding time and flying all the way from the UK.
Just for this.
I had to use a bit of success.
Pleasure.
Steven, what is One Golden Nugget? If you were to summarize it.
Very simply, we collect wisdom and we share it. Mm-hmm. And then when we share that wisdom, those nuggets of wisdom, they change people's lives and it creates the ripple effect. And that's really at its core what One Golden Nugget does. It takes people's experiences, shares their nuggets of wisdom and makes someone else's life better.
See, I mean, this is something, I think it's a very unique way of creating a community. Mm-hmm. I know it's much more than a community. It's a media company, really.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And I have to say, just to explain to the audience that I've met Steven because I'm on my journey to write a book about the brands and how to build a brand. And Steven's company, One Golden Nugget, is a big engine behind it. They're the people that helping me to create this book. So it's so much more than just a community. It's truly a new media company, a publishing house.
Thank you.
So One Golden Nugget, the idea of collecting wisdom, creating and sharing it with the world and with each other. How did you come up with this idea?
Very simply, I got to my mid to late 40s and I'd spent at that point 27, 28 years attempting to build a great business and building, and having success, and then each time failing temporarily, so I'd lose everything. And it becomes really painful after that amount of time to each time have your dream in tatters. Very painful. So at that point, at about 47, 48, I started asking people, just tell me one thing I can improve. Because clearly, everything starts with the self, right? Everything we build, everything we think, it starts with our internal self. So I started asking people, tell me one thing I can improve. And the phrase One Golden Nugget then just came from that, just sort of appeared, as these things do. So I went on this journey of asking people for their nuggets of wisdom, and it changed my life. And I found on that journey that everybody had a story to tell and everybody had been through something. And the most successful people in life have been through the most challenging of situations. So that's how One Golden Nugget started. And like all things, you then get on that journey and one thing leads to another.
And what was your journey? Because I know that you went through at 27, a very, very successful person with a lot of people were probably dreaming of having success, having a your own record company, and other businesses, to losing everything overnight, right?
Yep.
Almost overnight.
Yes.
And going and work as a cleaner.
Yes.
So how did you survive that mentally?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't. No, it totally wiped me out for a period of time. But I started at 19, and actually I bought 3 cassette decks. So you remember the old cassette tapes? And I started replicating tapes for local bands. And I'd do 50 cassettes, and I'd only have 3. So if each cassette was an hour, I could do. I could do 3 in an hour. So imagine if you had an order of 1,000, you'd be there for ages. And that was the case. So me and my dad, we'd sit up all night and we manufacture these cassette tapes, and I do it for local bands. And then I got into dance music, and then I realised that actually sat there doing the work was ridiculous. I could farm it out and subcontract it to cassette factories that could do billions, and that's what I did. So all of a sudden, the business absolutely took off because I got into dance music, and at that time people were creating mixtapes, of dance events. So I would replicate all of the tapes for the dance events, and it turned into millions of cassette tapes. And then so I'm doing this, and and that's fine, and I'm earning some good money, and nice car, and it's, okay, I'm cool. And then I got to about 20. I was about 26, and one of my biggest customers was the world's #1 dance music company at that time, and the guy that owned it unfortunately died in a car crash, and he was my friend, and they were my biggest customer. So I was like, okay. So once I'd kind of got over the loss of the friend thing, then it hit me that actually, I'm also going to lose my biggest customer. So I decided to buy the company, as you do. So it was, because Dreamscape, as it was called, was the owner's girlfriend had taken it over, and she didn't want to continue with it. So somehow I raised the money and bought the company, and then overnight by default I became one of the world's most successful dance music promoters because of the brand I bought. But and this is very important, I remember I'd set an intention that I didn't know how I was going to buy it. I just knew that was what I was going to do, and I found the money, and then started creating these huge dance events. 20,000 people raving in a warehouse, and then recording it, and then other things spawned from that, record company and clothing label and recording studios and remixing huge dance records, and having huge success at 27, 28. It was crazy.
And then
And then,
and then
of course, you spend all the money, and at 31 you're working as a cleaner in a factory for £5 an hour, which is total humiliation for me at that age. Lost my identity, but actually I remember wanting to do that job because I thought it might teach me something.
When you said you've lost your identity, what is that? Because the reason I'm asking is, so a lot of people are dreaming of that sort of success, right? So what was the identity?
The identity was the success, and it was the money, and it was I'm the man. So you wrap yourself up in this false illusion of who you actually are, which is not true. You're not that. So then when those outside things are removed, you're not left with anything. I was like, oh God, so I didn't come out of my bedroom for a year. I was depressed. I couldn't remortgage my house, took some money out and didn't do anything. And actually that's one of the greatest nuggets ever is it's more painful to stop than it is to keep going.
More painful to stop than keep going.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
I run marathons, and it's easier to keep running than it is to stop. If you stop about 24 miles, it's more painful on the body to stop running than it is to keep going. And actually, if you stop entirely, the pain of regret lives with you forever. So it's the keeping going that you have to do.
So if at that time when you actually lost that success, that identity of a successful man with that respect, if you use that nugget, what would you change? What would you do differently?
Nothing. Because you know why? I don't regret anything. It taught me humility. Because at that point, you know, at 27 and you've got, you know, a reasonable amount of money and you've got success, you know, your ego kicks in because you think then that you're actually you think you're better than you are. You think you're some sort of God's gift. But in truth, actually, I just worked really hard. To my credit, you know, at 19, I'm playing in bands and I'm singing as a singer in pubs, you know, 7 nights a week while my mates are out enjoying themselves, and I was working. And I just worked all day, all night, and that creates an energy around it, and success then follows. So, you know, I'm proud looking back at the person I was, you know, in my early 20s. I just worked damn hard.
So, and what was then that turning point that took you out from that depression?
I met a guy. I was handed a business card, and this guy was very successful. And I went to his house, a guy called Bob Patmore. He was a music producer. And, you know, he'd had success, huge success. And what it did is it got me in the environment of success again. It got me out of my slump and put me into a position of success again, because he had a recording studio. So what I was good at was making things happen, bringing people in, projects, you know, connecting people. I was good at all of that. So I started doing that. So then success started to follow. And then I felt good again. And then more success followed.
What do you think for people who don't meet Bob on there? What do they do?
That's a good question. What if they're in a slump?
Yeah.
Take it one step at a time, one day at a time. Read, educate yourself, and put yourself in a position to find success.
Yeah.
And it's never far away. You know, nothing ever lasts forever. Like life is like the seasons. You know, the clouds come and then they go. So, you know, if you're in that slump or you're in that cloud, the cloud will pass.
Don't stop.
Yeah, it will pass.
Yeah.
You know, and know it will pass. And if you know it will pass, you can enjoy that slump. You know, if someone's in a slump, I would say enjoy it. Wallow in it. You know, it's like, fine, okay, I'm in a slump. So what? You can still be happy within the slump. And that's something I've learned since doing One Golden Nugget. You know, that if you're having a hard time, that's fine. I'm having a hard time. So what? Get through it, you know.
That's very, very powerful.
Yeah, don't wallow in it.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Yeah.
You might never have it again.
Yeah. You might become really successful after that.
It might be the only one time you're going to experience it.
Yeah, but how many times do you look back and actually those were the great times? You know, when I look back at being a cleaner in a factory, actually it taught me so many beautiful life lessons. I wouldn't want it now. But no, and I don't think it would, you know, it might happen, but so what? But you know, take from it the positive.
Yeah. I truly believe we can change the world for better through businesses. If we all have this kind of mindset and attitude, so what? Let's do it. Let's be kind. Let's share with each other. I believe in that. But when I tell my friends, even some friends and people I know about this idea, they're very skeptical. Not all of them, but I see a lot of skepticism, being skeptical about this idea. Do you truly also believe that you can change the world for the better through what you're doing?
Yes, of course. But define what change in the world is. You know, in terms of, you know, what you need to do is just, in my opinion, is just focus on yourself and your own little ecosystem.
Yeah.
You know, yes, we all want to change the world massively, but that may not happen. But you can still have an impact on people, the people around you. So, of course you can. Just by being kind to, you know, if you're running a business, you live in an ecosystem within that business, being kind to your customers and your suppliers and loving and doing the best that you can, you know, and that sends a ripple out to the world.
Yeah.
So anybody can do it.
Yeah. Do you think there is money behind kindness?
Well, money's energy. Money is just energy. It's a flow of energy. So yes, I do totally believe that. But I don't think being kind for the reason of wanting money is the right idea. You just be kind.
And
And what's the opposite of that? Not being kind? Well, why would you want to not be kind? You may as well live your life in a kindness vibration and loving the people that come into your experience. That to me would seem sensible.
What do you think for the business leaders? Yeah. Do you think in current reality, in today's world, what kind of business leaders we need? Or what would define a successful business leader?
Empathetic, vulnerable, because you never know what other people are going through, and there's people on your team, they're going to look up to you. So they need, a great leader needs to show their humanity, because we are just humans. It doesn't matter what level you get to in life in terms of success or money. That's irrelevant. It's being kind, and living in that way where you respect deeply other people. And just because they might be younger or they might have less success than you, doesn't mean they're any less a person. When I was working as a cleaner in a factory, you get picked on by the machinist because you're viewed as a lesser person. But I wasn't a lesser person. I'd been one of the top dance music promoters in the world. I was, far greater, in terms of success than any of those people. But they viewed me as, not. But I wasn't. So, I think modern leaders, be empathetic, be kind, because life is such a short journey. It's such and it can be challenging at times, right? So.
Yeah, I think it's very challenging.
Yeah, but it's challenging for all people.
Yeah.
Every single person on the planet goes through their own experience and their own set of challenges and problems, and it can feel difficult. So being a leader and being out there and being, that beacon of light. I don't think people need ego, and I don't think people need fear-driven businesses. In the 80s, right? It was all about fear and, you'll do as I say. And it's like, no, pack it up. Young people these days want to go and work for great companies, great people that are not just, it's not just focused on money. They're caring about the products that they make and the environment and caring about people. They're the companies that are going to succeed in the future, in my opinion.
The reason I'm asking is because we had a very, not heated, but engaging discussion today morning about what does make a true business leader. And one of the words that were brought up was to conquer, the ability to conquer. And that's why I question it. Like, really? Are the new business, do we need to conquer?
I don't think so.
Or it's more about, and then the argument was, but it's I said, but maybe it's about how much impact you bring. And the argument was, but in order to impact anyone, you need to have an ability to conquer. Do you think it's just the whole idea of conquering and
I don't
force?
like the word. Yeah. Conquer means to take something.
Control.
I think the tighter you hold on to something, the more difficult it is to keep hold of it. Yeah,
I agree with you. I think you're one of the wisest men I've met, because you have at least 3,500 nugget of wisdom from successful people around the world, right?
True. Yeah.
Tell me, give us a little bit more. Who do you have in your network? Who gave you those wisdom? Some of the names maybe that could.
Endless
it's
people.
Incredible.
Well, Joe Foster, right? That you interviewed. He's changed my life, and his nugget is just to keep going.
Yeah.
Which is where I've stolen that from. When we first started, I randomly connected with a guy called James Somerville, and James was the head of design at Coca-Cola. He designed the Coke can. And his thing was that if you're a big company, think small, and if you're a small company, think big. Because when he was at Coca-Cola, he couldn't. There was no point thinking big, because they're the global leader, right? So it was a case of thinking small to make a difference. There's been endless people, and what I've learned from those is that everybody's going through some sort of thing. Everybody's got problems. Everyone's on their own journey, and it was fascinating to me to see the vulnerability of some of those top people, and kind of blossom like a flower when, and that's the thing when I tell my story of constant kind of temporary failure, they felt safe in then sharing their story rather than, you go on LinkedIn and look at this award I've won and aren't I successful and I'm so great, and, pack all that stuff away. It doesn't serve anybody, does it? Tell me about that time that you couldn't pay your mortgage. That's what I want to know about, because I've been there, right? And how did you get through it? How could you, that time you couldn't pay your wage bill, we had a great nugget the other day that this very successful guy in America said that, you've not become an entrepreneur until you've had your credit card declined buying milk, and that's the journey. Yeah, that's painful, but that's the journey we're on. It's not a straight line, but yeah, thousands of nuggets which have changed me forever. It's been the best education.
I think the one golden nugget really has that power, because the connection comes through wisdom and through stories rather than just through the image and what you've done in the past.
And vulnerability.
Absolutely. So I think that's something. It's a new type of connection that we are. Mm-hmm. But is everyone ready for it?
No.
And
there are people that don't give nuggets.
Yeah.
But, okay, that's fine. Well, you're on your journey, that's not for me to give opinion about. But certainly I think there's been a shift in the world where people understand that we are all just, we're all one thing in a way, We're all on this planet trying to figure out who we are, trying to get through what we're doing. We have our dreams and we have our goals, and life will slap us and hurt us, and it's painful at times, but everybody's the same. So having empathy for other humans and being kind, I think there's been a shift since COVID. I think the world's changed.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
So just want to explain to the guys is that one golden nugget is not just the beautiful community where you can connect with very successful people also that share the wisdom. You can share your wisdom and put it out there. And also it's a very strong support and engine if you want to publish your own book, right? If you want to create your own book.
Absolutely.
Because you believe, and the company believes, that everyone has a story to share.
Yes.
So the guys help you to do that. And I think I found it very powerful when I was thinking about creating my own book to promote the idea of brand building and legacy, going to the traditional publishing house or actually going to the new type of media. It's absolutely different experience.
Thank you.
So if you could maybe give a little bit more of what is that experience you feel, what is that strength you guys provide?
Of writing a book?
Yeah, of that support.
Yeah, well, these people, right? There's people that show up on your journey and they're there to teach you and guide you. And I was in a pub with a guy called Nick Ogden who created a company called WorldPay, the credit card company. He invented e-commerce. And he said to me, I thought my business was something else. And he said, actually, your business is writing books for other people because you've got a process now. And with Nugget, it's a very powerful idea because you share your journey, and then the books, you can invite other people in and they can share their nuggets of wisdom. And so it becomes a community builder, the books. Yeah. So it's not just about telling your story. It's about inviting then your customers or people, people from your journey that have supported you and the things you've learned from them and then their opinions. So it's more of a collective thing than just writing a memoir or something. That's not what we're about. And also Nugget is about telling those stories of temporary setbacks. Because that's where you learn the greatest wisdom. That's where you learn the greatest nuggets. If you went through life and everything was successful, wonder what have you learned? This, I've always had a slight issue with people that are born into vast amounts of money, or actually are given money, lottery, whatever, or they might marry into money, right? You don't learn anything. You learn, the point of money is to become the person who actually learned how to get that money and how to deliver something to the world where the world paid you back in monetary terms. That's the goal. It's not the money itself, it's the person you become on that journey.
Yeah.
So our books tell all those stories of, terrible situations sometimes, but, and problems. But the thing is, you can look at those problems and perhaps relate to them, and actually then change your own life because of taking inspiration from someone else's journey and the struggle they've been through. Because it is a struggle life at times, but it's also beautiful as well. That's the polarity thing.
Absolutely. From my side, just to add in terms of my experience, I always felt that I do want to talk about that company should talk about legacy and building something bigger, because there's a lot of short-term focus recently. Just, okay, what is today, rather than thinking something for a long term. And that whole idea of brand mindset, and when you look at your company as a brand, and that emotional connection that you create with customer is a long-term thinking. It's very powerful and strong. So I was always this kind of skeptical. I do want to write a book. I don't, but who am I to write a book and so on? Do you remember we had those discussions with you at the beginning? And working with you guys, it's a life-changing experience, because now I realized I didn't just tap into this great writers, supporters, and so on. It's the network of people that I have. So now I feel it's not my book. It's the book that we create together with Joe Foster, with Chris Brown from Ted Bay, with amazing people around the world.
Yes.
And even those we haven't interviewed yet, we're going to get them also.
All those amazing people we don't know.
Amazing people. And then you become, okay, wow, my book is actually, it's not just a brand building, legacy building book. It's the movement that we are creating.
Yes.
And I think this is really the type of new media company.
Yes.
That one Golden Nugget is.
Thank you. I like that.
No, and that's I wanted to do this podcast first with the idea of how to write a book.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm not writing a book. I'm creating a movement.
You are. And a community. And that's actually the most powerful thing about Nugget is the connecting. When I ask people for their nugget of wisdom, 99% of the time they'll say yes, and the most successful people are the biggest givers because they've been through the most. They understand, the pay it forward thing, which is a bit overused in terms of a phrase these days. They will pay it forward, but yeah. So it's the best connecting tool I've ever known. I've been in kind of trying to sell things for years, before Nugget. Don't sell anything, just connect on a human level with people, and then people open up like a flower. They blossom. They that's what we do. So it's a beautiful connecting tool. So yes, for your book, it's gonna be full of everybody.
Do you know what? Sometimes I even think even if we don't finish it,
what? Of course you're gonna finish it.
It's a very different. It's fun. It's great. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, but isn't that the point? That with business, it should be an amazing experience. It should be a joyful experience.
A joyful experience.
And then people want to spend money with you. Yeah. You create a business, make it a beautiful experience. Yeah. That's why everybody buys Apple, because of the experience. Yeah. I don't need another phone, but it's just... it's a lovely experience.
Absolutely. That's why I want to really, really ask you to have a look at it and share your wisdom. I'm sure everyone has a story, and share it, because collective wisdom is very powerful. Is a beautiful tool, and it's a genuine connection then. I'd like to ask you 3 questions that I always ask our guests. The first one is, most of the people watching us are businessmen, or they want to be entrepreneurs. They've just started small business or medium size, but somehow we want to be successful business people. So 3 things. What do you feel from the wisdom of 3,500 plus people? What do you feel as the successful business person or entrepreneur needs to do regularly to be successful? The second question is to not to be afraid of to be successful. And the third one is to stay away from.
We interviewed a guy called Anthony Thompson who founded Metro Bank in the UK. A bank, right? Huge business. And I won't go through his story because you better get it in one of our new books that's coming shortly called Leapfrog. But his thing was every day he just got out of bed and showed up. That's the thing. There is no secret.
Oh, that's the wisdom. That's it?
That was his that was his nugget of wisdom. Yeah. And he went through some really tough times. And when he's going through those tough times, he said, and people always ask me what my secret success is. He showed up. He turned up and every day he just did his thing. Because like running the marathon or me hiding in my bedroom for a year, you're not going to, that doesn't solve anything. You've got to show up and present the best version of yourself and do your thing.
That's great. That's great. That's all I'm going to do tomorrow.
Yeah, just show up. Show up. Just drink some coffee and then go home.
But that even, it's true. It's much more powerful than just be crying at home about, over spilled milk.
Just show up.
Yeah, show up.
Yeah, and do your thing. And do the best that you can do. Yeah, of course. Don't show up and do nothing. Show up and, do what you can do with what you have, whatever that is.
Yeah. What they shouldn't be afraid of?
They shouldn't be afraid of losing anything because there's nothing to lose in life. You're born with nothing, you leave with nothing. It's just an experience in between. So don't be afraid of losing anything, especially money or friends or status, or there's nothing to lose.
What about stay away from?
Stay away from toxic people. Yeah. The energy drainers in life, the naysayers, stay away from that. Stay away from TV. Don't watch TV.
News.
Yeah, I don't watch the news. The news is designed to suppress, and it's negative, and it's only one person's viewpoint on the planet on that day, and it's not representative of what life is. Life is beautiful. You've only got to go to an airport and see people coming off an aeroplane and the people waiting for those people coming off the plane and the love that they have. And when you're there with your kids, my kids are the most important thing to me. That's love. That's life. It's not the news, some bombing or something. That's always going to be the case. Don't engage it. It's there, but don't engage in it. Focus on the change that you can make. So stay away from that. And that's it. I think. I mean, there's many other things you shouldn't stay away from, but. Yeah, that list is too long.
I have goosebumps. I can't agree more. Yes, honestly. Toxic people, kill the whole. Run away from them.
Yeah. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. Oh, and the number of times I've been called a loser and all those sort of things. Surround yourself with energy people that support you, especially when it's not going well, and people that say, you're amazing. I believe in you.
But genuinely. Yeah.
That's what you need.
You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, babe.
Thank you so much. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I'm very, very, what's the word? Happy.
Are you? Well, after listening to me.
I've done it. It's great. I love it. Thank you so lot.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And this tape was...